Good morning everyone and welcome back to City Sowers. It's been a little bit since we last posted and the reason for that is because we were out of town again. But this morning I want to do some harvesting in the garden and we'll kind of talk about what's been going on. Betsy, would you like a split tomato? So this latest trip was to Southern California to go see some family for the 4th of July, and we didn't take the camera with us because it was just family time. So we left the camera at home, which is fine. But we have had quite a bit happening that led right up until that trip. It's been a little crazy. He thinks it may be time to make some pesto. The basil is a little nuts. Time to get some stuff and make some pesto. So right up before we left on our trip, we had Gilbert had to be castrated, which turned out to be a little more complicated than originally anticipated because of his cryptorchidism, meaning that he only had one descended testicle. The other one did not feel like coming down. So we did that, and our dog Shasta also has had some medical complications that have been a little trying on the family. While Gilbert's castration didn't go 100% according to plan, he's totally fine. He's not injured, there's no permanent damage. He, honestly, aside from maybe being a little whiny the day of, he's been acting totally normal. The original plan for Gilbert was to make a small slit in his scrotum where he already has one of his testicles, and to just pull the undescended one down into there. That may be basically the sphincter where they come through during fetal development. Maybe it had just been too small and didn't allow the second testicle to come through. So that was the original plan, was to just kind of drop it down into the scrotum and band both of them at the same time. That was not possible. It turns out that he developed a totally normal testicle that just had a really short spermatic cord, so we couldn't pull it down. We decided to go with a traditional cut castration for him with the undescended one. So it was totally fine. He didn't freak out, and it was smooth. Pulled it out, it was over, and we banded the one remaining one. So he's totally fine, healed up great. His stitches come out next week, and he's been totally fine. Not bad for a morning haul. I'm gonna run out here and check the fruit tree because it's about that time of year when it's time to start checking it on the regular. Oh man. So this has been happening. Lots of just dropped immature fruit. Very frustrating. Let's see. Close. So the peach tree has been dropping a lot of immature fruit. I think because we've been dealing with, ooh, are you ready? Ooh, you're ready. We have been dealing with some issues with fungus this year. It's had powdery mildew on the tree, and I'm wondering if that may be what's causing it to drop its fruit prematurely. Because in previous years we have struggled with, what is it? Oh, peach tree leaf curl, and it dropped all of its fruit that year. So doesn't surprise me that if we're struggling with a disease, it's just not hanging on to its fruit. So we're just being very careful, excuse me, pardon me, checking the fruit to make sure we don't disturb it, and just very delicately check it for ripeness. I got these chocolate daisies that I got. It took them a while, but they're really interesting because look, that is like an unopened blossom. So like these little yellow dots here are the petals and they come out like that. It's really unique. And it smells very chocolatey. I wouldn't say it smells like a chocolate bar per se, but it does have a chocolate-esque fragrance. Now, as for Shasta, her nickname is Lala because when the kids were little they couldn't say Shasta properly and it came out Shlala, and it just kind of evolved. But Shasta is 11 and a half years old. She started with a, excuse me, I'm being eaten by little goats. Okay. So Shasta is 11 and a half years old, and she had a lump that suddenly appeared on her teat line. Now, I spayed this dog when she was a puppy, and so I wasn't planning on her ever getting mammary tumors, but it turns out that's what it was. And the vet said that it did indeed look cancerous. So, I mean, what do you do with an 11-year-old dog? Like, pursuing cancer treatment is not going to guarantee you that much more time with them. So we kind of just said, well, let's just take a minute and we'll wait and see. Because they could not operate right away because her liver values were actually really elevated. So we sat on our heels for a week to see what happened, and it grew larger, excuse me, and it started to ulcerate, which means that it started to get an open sore on it. And so we talked to the vet, and he was saying, you know, we're at a crossroads where we have to make a really tough decision. So we were at a crossroads where we had to either take the risk and do the surgery or start talking about letting her go, because with it being ulcerated, it was going to be more difficult to keep infection at bay, and she was going to get more and more uncomfortable. So she had still been acting normally, so we went ahead and did the surgery because she was still jumping for her food, she was affectionate, she was acting normal, she wasn't ready. So we had surgery to remove the tumor. She's recovering now, but she's in that really uncomfortable phase where it starts to itch because it's healing. So she was licking it and overnight popped a couple of her stitches. But it was right at the very end, so the vet actually was not super concerned after he took a look at it. So she has to wear an e-collar now because, yeah, she can't leave it alone. So she was doing fine the first couple of days, but now it started to itch because of that tissue granulation. So now she has to wear the cone of shame. It's very depressing. You can come see. Hi, Mom. Sit. Good girl. Oh, good girl, Shasta. Good girl. So she's wearing the cone. The dreaded cone of shame. Here, lay down. And her incision. Here, all the way down. Good girl. Down, down. Good girl. So she's got a pretty good size incision. And this is where she popped the stitches down here at the end. That was just like where they had grabbed some extra skin really to keep it closed, so nothing is like open or exposed. But she's healing all right. She's a good girl. Hi, sweet La.
Oh no.
Oh, Shasta. Good girl. So having her tumor removed is about the extent of the medical interference that we're going to run, because unfortunately she's 11 and a half years old. We're hoping that the surgery has slowed down the progression of her cancer, and we have made some modifications to her diet to support her as much as possible. She's on some stuff to support her liver function. She's doing pretty good. I mean, she's acting pretty normal. She's a little depressed right now because I put the cone on her. But when I took it off this morning for her to have breakfast and all that, she was bouncing, happy. But she's probably, I mean, she's definitely going to be more comfortable having it off once the incision heals. I mean, the tumor. She's going to be a lot more comfortable having the tumor off once her incision heals. And that was really all that we were looking for, was to make her a little more comfortable, and we're going to enjoy her for as long as we have her. And so yeah, that's what's kind of been going on the Shasta front. It's been a rough and emotional couple weeks for me anyway, and the kids were mostly kept in the dark for as long as possible until we had to make some real decisions, and then we kind of clued them in that we were on limited time. But so, and I mean, Shasta, our oldest son, is 10 years old. Shasta has been here for their entire lives, so it's gonna be a really rough day when the day finally comes, but we're hoping that it's still a little ways off. Now, for a little bit of a happier note to end the video on, little baby bunnies have upgraded today. So we took the nest box out, though apparently the babies have not figured out yet how to use the house. Hi, Mama. Hi, Guinevere. But see, we've got babies back there and babies back there. Oh, that's funny. Babies are super cute. They're all fluffy now. And we're going to be selling all the babies in this litter to kind of help recoup some of our startup costs with setting up the rabbits. So we do have some interested buyers, but we do still have some available babies. Let's see. Actually, those 3 are all still available. Now, because we are selling all of these babies, we actually have come up with temporary names for them. So I'm going to pull each baby out and kind of share their names with you. This is Mojo. Mojo is a broken caster, so he's going to look just like Daddy. So I can turn around and show you once I get him down for safety. Broken caster is going to look like this as an adult. Hi, Arthur. Hi, Mr. Man. Are you curious about that camera? He's a good boy. But that's a broken caster. He looked a lot more gray when he was a baby, and he kind of just really deepened into that gorgeous brown. Now, this baby is actually not a broken caster. This one is a broken blue. So it's blue and white instead of brown and white. And this one we named Snowball. Mostly because I was holding it when it was a little smaller than this, and I said, oh, it's a little snowball of fluff. So even though it has nothing to do with being Snow White, it's a snowball. It's Snowball of fluff. So this one is a caster, which is going to grow up to look like Mom. And this one is Mini Gwynny. It's a little mini-me of Guinevere, who we call Gwynny for short. So, Mini Gwynny. This baby is an opal, which is, ooh, stretch, which is blue with a tan belly. And this one is real original. The name is Opal. This one is the biggest one in the litter, and so it has earned the name of Chunky Monkey. It is what's called a broken black, which just basically means it's black and white. So, big baby, Chunky Monkey. This one is the other broken caster. We have 2 that look very similar, so they're almost twins. So the other one is Mojo, and this one is Jojo. So Mojo and Jojo. Last one here is Solid Black. And most of the names we stuck with fairly gender neutral names, but David named the last one, and it is Philip. So Philip the Black Bunny. So we've got a little posse of bunnies and Mom. Hey Jojo.
Jojo.
Little Jojo. Now, I realized that the lighting in here was not the best to see all their colors, so I'm planning on trying to get some portraits done of them at some point. Just probably not going to be today. We have a couple of babies that have interest, but many of the litter is still available. Chunky Monkey, I think, is going to be taken regardless of gender, and Philip is claimed if it is a boy. So basically the two babies that have black are currently spoken for. Everyone else is still available. If anyone is interested who is in driving range anyway, I don't want to be shipping rabbits, but anybody who is interested in rabbits, whether they be for breeding stock or as a pet or anything like that, we're handling these babies to make them friendly as pets, and they'll be great as breeding stock, honestly, if they're really well handled, because you can actually handle them. But we're going to be selling these babies. If you're interested, contact me. We'll put an email address down in the description of the video. I'm also on Instagram as just City Sewers, and you can personal message me there, and we'll talk bunnies. Hey you.
Hi.
You got a bunny.
Opal.
Little Opal. Getting ready to take a nap, looks like. Sleepy bunny.
His nose is showing down, so yeah.
So that's kind of the bulk of what's been going on around the 4th of July and all the other things that have been happening off camera. I have had requests to get some how-to videos out there, and I'm going to be focusing on trying to get those filmed in the coming days and weeks. So keep an eye out for those videos. They're going to be coming out here pretty soon. We're going to be making some different kinds of cheeses. We're going to make yogurt. We're going to make bread. It's going to be all kinds of fun stuff to do in the kitchen. As always, this is your urban nerd with a goat herd, saying that you can grow where you're planted.